Hey, it's card number 122 from that 1953 Bowman color set. It's Bill Serena from the Chicago Cubs. Here he is, swinging that bat in the Polo Grounds. If it's card number 122, that's right. It must be session number 122 of Card Room Live for nearly 4 years now. Can you believe that? 4 years of this nonsense. It's not a show, guys. It's a hangout for fellow vintage collectors. Whether we have guests or not, most of the time we waste time looking at and talking about old cardboard, and through it all, we try to make a time well wasted. Good evening to everybody. Good evening to my fellow YouTubers, to the commenters, to the folks from all over social media land. If you're here with us live, welcome to you. Do not be afraid to say hello. If you're new, you are among cardboard friends. This is the live stream where everybody knows your name. And if we don't, we soon will. If you're listening to this later, you might be going to work, coming home from work, sorting cards, looking at the eBay listings, rolling out the meatballs, walking the dog, sitting on the john, putting the kids to bed. Perhaps you're sitting around thinking about the fact that you might be hanging on to baseball cards as a distraction to what would otherwise be an existential crisis about the human condition. Shout out to DK Cardboard. You might be wondering if Eddie Wakus will come up tonight. It's possible. It's always possible. You might be wondering what other kind of Mike Foolery we're going to get into. It's going to be hard to get into Mike Foolery because I don't think Mike, the sports history collector, will be here tonight. Whatever you're doing, I hope you get something out of it. If you want to get in touch or have ideas for future sessions, you can email me at bowman53channel@gmail.com. You can also find me on Instagram, bowman53_Alex, and on X, 1953 Bowman Color. And of course, all that information can be found in the description below. This session of Card Room Live is brought to you by Wheaties, the Breakfast of Champions. It's not actually brought to you by Wheaties, but let's pretend it is. Lou Gehrig, the Iron Man of baseball, says that he believes anyone who wants to go any place in sport needs to keep in good physical shape. I totally agree with Lou on that. And you have to eat smart, and there's nothing better than a big bowl full of Wheaties with plenty of milk or cream and sugar. Try Wheaties. You'll be glad you did, because Wheaties sure taste great, and Lou would know, of course, because he's played in 2,130 consecutive games after all. Wheaties, the breakfast of iron horses. So, good evening to everybody. Let's take a look at the chat. Hodges is number one tonight. Hodges 1455 is here. We have a Warren fan. Litzy Sports Cards is here. Litzy, Curtis was in our chat, or on our live stream last Sunday night. If you didn't see session number 121, you should check that out. Great collection and a great collector from Instagram. Pastor Craig's Vintage Cards is here. Peter B is here. Mike Polina is here. Low Grade, No Grade Vintage. Andrew, I got your email. I will get back to you. Thanks for emailing. Rob, the Baseball Time Traveler, another guest from session 121, showing some great cards last time. Nicholas is here. Welcome to you. Peacemaker Cards. John 3D 80s Kid is here. Larry is here. Check it out, Larry, later on when you are walking on the dog or maybe sitting on the john. Orlando is here. Reese Endy Card Ranger, the very first person to ever comment on a Card Room Live way back on session number 1. Reese, what's up? Mookie Chelson, the latest collector to decide to build a 1953 Bowman Color set. Mookie, congratulations. Mookie wanted me to tell everybody that if they have any extra 1953 Bowman Color cards, that they should hit him up, because he's trying to build that set. Right, Mookie? I'm just trying to create some problems for Mookie. Everyday card collector Jason is here. Stuke, Mr. Wrenchholder, is here, trying to keep the chat in line. Chris from Missouri, another great guest from session 121, and Mr. Johnny D is here. So we've got a great group of folks in the chat. It's time to bring in our guests. We've got 3 collectors here. We're going to continue with the Cards with Stories theme that we've been doing. I kind of do it off and on now and again. I really like it. I feel like a lot of people seem to be responding positively to it. It's great because it gives me a chance to reach out into the community, see who wants to hop on, get different people together, show cards, share stories. You know, looking at cards is great, but to me, sharing stories about the cards and how those cards might mean something to us, or something about the player, or something about the history, to me just elevates the importance of the card and makes it even that much more special. So I reached out to these three gentlemen, and they all agreed to jump in here. So let's get these folks in here. We're going to start with a longtime Card Room Live guest. He knows who he is, the Drew of Vintage Legacy. What's up, Drew?
How are we doing tonight, Alex?
Doing good, doing good. I'm glad that I can finally stop talking and let you guys do the talking now. We've got another guest in here, Warren D in the CLE. How you doing, Warren?
What is going on, my happy friends? Alex, man, thanks so much for having me on. Drew, good to see you, buddy.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And a first-timer, long-time listener, first-time caller. Here he is, Stephen. Guys, Stephen with a PH. How are you, Stephen?
Thank you, Alex. Very good. Hey, everybody. It's Stephen with a PH.
Let's go, Stephen.
Ready to go. Ready to go. Love it. All right, guys. So you guys know the drill. For anybody that has not been in a Card Room Live for Cards with Stories before, I asked these gentlemen to pick 3, maybe 4, maybe more cards. I'm fully expecting the rules to get broken, though. Whatever happens, happens. It's all good. We've got an hour, and we're all going to take turns sharing cards with stories. The stories might be about the player. They might be about something related to baseball history, or about something in that year. Maybe it's about the card history, or maybe it's a personal history, something that you have a connection to with regard to that specific card. So let's start with our newest guest. We're going to start with Stephen. Go ahead.
Hey, thanks, Alex. I'm going to start off with my first card. It's probably the single most enjoyable moment I can go back and relate to. And it was back in 1972, and it was the Canadian-Russia Summit Series. The card I'm going to show is a single most important goal in the history of Canadian hockey, in my opinion, going back to that series. And a guy that when you hear his name, it's just everything. And it is Paul Henderson. Now, for any Canadian, this is a man that will always be in sports lore for us. When I think of Paul Henderson, the first thing I think about is the game-winning goal he scored in Game 8 with under a minute left. That basically not just brought our nation together, but has always been a big part of our nation. Now, I'm going to continue on with this story because the meaning of this card, I mean, there's been a lot of things in sports that I have had incredible memories with, but this goal was everything and has been everything, in my opinion, to not only our country, but when it comes to hockey, but to the time of when it happened. I was 11 years old, and that day when the game was on, instead of going to school, I faked sick because I wanted to stay home and watch the game. And not only did I, but all my 5 brothers did. I have 6 brothers. So all 5 of us, we stayed home with Mom. Dad went to work, and we watched the game. And there was a lot of noise and things falling off the walls when that goal went in the net. And it still does to this day when we sit around, my brothers and I talk about it, that moment. Now, the irony of the goal, which is incredible, was I find out the next day I go to school. Well, lo and behold, the school shut down the classes, when everyone went to the gymnasium, and they brought in a TV to watch the game. So I would have seen it anyways, but regardless of that, it was just some type of, it's a memory. And this card, I wanted to lead off with it because of the importance of what it meant to me, what it be growing up, starting out with mainly hockey. It was just incredible that we had the opportunity to cherish that moment. And I'll be honest, going back to the Vancouver Olympics when Crosby scored, and then just most recently with McDavid scoring, it always goes back to this goal. This is where it all started, and this was a proud moment in our Canadian history pertaining to hockey. And I really wanted to lead off with that, just from this the thought of what it means up here to us as Canadians, game of hockey. And I mean, if anyone's watched anything I've talked about before, I was fortunate enough to grow up and play baseball with Wayne Gretzky, so you know what hockey means to us. So right. I just can't go on and say much more. I'll fire my Wayne autograph in here, but
oh, go ahead, show that again. Oh, there you go. Nice.
On a great card too.
Yeah,
beautiful.
I mean,
it's here, baby.
So when I talk about the game of hockey and a memory that will always, this will be the one memory that I will never ever forget in sports, and I have thousands and millions of memories, but this gentleman, that goal was everything, and it will always be the greatest sports moment I will ever have in my life.
That's
right.
Awesome.
Right.
What
Fantastic.
a great way to start, Stephen. Damn.
Thank you.
Excellent. All right, Warren, try to follow that up.
Oh, I have to follow that up. Oh, geez, all right, here we go, guys. So, actually, Drew Clean Cheap Shots refreshed my memory about this player a while back. So here we have 1936 Gaudy White Pen Premium, Mel Harder, super undersung in the hobby. In my opinion, I think he has enough stats to be in the Hall of Fame. 20 straight years, all with Cleveland. 44.3 WAR. Yeah, I understand WAR could be overrated, but for a pitcher, that's pretty damn solid. He had 14 straight years, or 14 years with double win seasons.
Wow.
Two-time 20-game winner in 34-35. Was the youngest player in Major League Baseball in 1928 as a rookie. He coached and managed 30 years in the Cleveland system. And Cleveland finally retired his number July 28th, 1990. But this is just a beautiful example. I love these. This is actually my only 36 Gaudy White Pen, but I love the set. And I think it was a great piece for me to start off with, being, Cleveland guy and all that kind of stuff. But just if you go on Sabre, he has a great bio, and Sabre has great reference material for anybody if you don't know. Read the bios of the players. It goes so deep and beyond, but I thought that this was just a beauty. And yes, they're blank back. I mean, a lot of these guys that watch us now know this stuff, but Drew Clean Cheap Shot. It's his fault. And I know he's going to watch us. Unfortunately, he couldn't be on because he messaged me earlier saying, hey, I got to travel, but I'm going to catch you guys later and all that. But he was the one that really brought Mel Harder back into my memory and made sure that I want to have more pieces of Mel, because I do believe he's worthy of being in the Hall and worthy of more talk in the hobby as well.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought up Drew Clean Cheap Shots. He was on last time as well. Lukey likes the card. And just so you know, Warren, in case you were wondering, Steven also likes the card.
So how the heck does that happen? I can't do this. I can't focus.
That is a beauty, Warren. I mean, those wide pens. I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jason, I think Everyday Card Collectors has shown a few of those type of wide pens also. I mean, that's a spectacular card and a unbelievable story.
Right.
Yeah. Just great.
All right, Drew. Let's go to you.
So when you were doing your introductions, you said I'm sure some rules are going to be broken. So here I am. So
Yes.
but this goes back to what I call my single greatest or most fun day in the hobby. Okay. And because it happened so long ago, we're going to call it vintage, even though we're not talking about a classic vintage card or set. But there is a point to this, and I'll come back around to it. So back in 1993, okay, I was just barely out of college. And for those of you who don't know, I live in Georgia. That's important here. And my birthday is in November, so I had gotten some birthday money from my grandmother, and she said, "Go spend it on something fun." So in my little town here in Northeast Georgia, there was two card shops, and so I went to one, and he had just gotten these new cards, and they were super different, and just they were shiny and all this other stuff, but they were really expensive, and I normally wouldn't have ever bought those types of packs, but um, but I had this extra money, so I thought, okay. And at that point, I was all in on Griffey. Everything was a Griffey, you know. So I'm trying to get the Griffey. I was trying to get Griffey from all the sets back then. So the set was Topps Finest. It was the flagship. They had just come out, and you know they had a beautiful silver to it, and the Griffey is in the gold, or not the gold, the green with the All Star. So I thought, man, but it was like $5 a pack, which was really expensive back then. And I think I had maybe $25. So I think I brought 5 packs, and I opened them. No Griffey. But the other card shop in town, he was a buyer of these cards, and he would give you 50% of any card in that set because there was guys trying to build the set in cash. So I took whatever cards I had pulled, and I went down and I talked to him. His name is Mark. That'll come up later. And I sold him all the cards. So I had gotten money back, and I went back uptown to the first card shop, and I bought more packs, and I just kept doing this all day long. And at some point, I was running low on money, and then I pulled a big one. Like I think it was a bonds I had pulled, and I sold it, and I got more money. And it was just a lot of fun because I was driving back and forth, buying cards, selling cards, trying to get that one. Well, I remember pulling out a Terry Pendleton, and for those of you who don't remember, Terry Pendleton at the time was the third baseman for the Braves, and the Braves were just starting a big run. It was a big deal. He was MVP the National League in '91, so he was a huge name at the time in Georgia. And but what I noticed about this Pendleton was it looked different. There was something different about it, and nobody kind of knew what this was. So I took it downtown to Mark, and I said, "Hey, yeah, Warren knows where I'm going with this, okay?" And he said, "I've heard about these, and they were listed in Beckett. The cards were, but not this special thing. Well, that special thing happened to be a refractor. I actually pulled a Terry Pendleton refractor from the '93 Finest set. So he gave me more money than normally I would have gotten for the Pendleton. I went back uptown to the first place, and finally, with the last pack I could afford, I pulled the Griffey. This is the Griffey I pulled that day from that set. So it was a great day. I spent so much time back and forth buying packs, selling back and forth. I learned about the set. And it's not a huge set, but I ended up getting this card, and Mark ended up having that Terry Pendleton refractor. Well, fast forward, okay, to literally 2 years ago. I am uptown, still live in the same town. Card shops are long gone. They haven't been in business in years and years. And I'm literally in our downtown area, and I bump into Mark, and he's like, "Hey, Drew," he remembers me or whatever. And he doesn't look so well. And I'm asking about him and his life. And he's like, I'm not doing real well. I'm kind of sick. And he said, I still have a bunch of stuff from when his store closed down in storage. He was trying to sell everything, just one big shot, all his old inventory. And he said, "Do you know anything about cards anymore?" I was like, "Yeah, but I'm more into vintage now, whatever." He said, "Well, I've got this one box of cards that I think are good cards. Tell me what you know about them," because he hadn't been a dealer in a long, long time. So he brings me this box of cards, and I start going through them, and lo and behold, he had never sold the Terry Pendleton refractor. And as soon as I saw that card, I just started beaming. He said, "What?" And I said, "I pulled that card in '93. I sold you that card in 1993." And
Wow.
he said, "Drew, I want you to have it." So I have the Terry Pendleton refractor that he gave me back that I pulled the same day. I pulled this card.
Unreal.
This card. And this is what I call a boomerang card. And so that card started in a pack in one shop in town. And 35, or not quite 35, but 30 plus years later, I ended up with the card again. And so that's a great story. It's one of the most fun days I ever had in the hobby buying packs, selling, or whatever. And it was just this little town, and you knew everybody. It was kind of like Cheers, You'd go to one shop and there was some collectors you knew, and you go to another one. And so I still have obviously both of these cards. This is in my Griffey case, and this I keep in a special place. It's the only refractor I've ever had of any kind, and I pulled it from a pack. So there's my story. So I figured I'd start with not modern, but vintage enough because it's still 30 years old. So I hope that was okay.
Yeah, absolutely. What a story. Incredible, Drew.
Bumps.
I'm telling you, I was typing boomerang when you were saying a boomerang back to me. I'm thinking, wow, just incredible.
I'll give you a teaser. Remember that phrase boomerang card, because I have another story coming up. So
I like it.
I'll let somebody else have a chance.
That's going full circle then.
Yep.
Drew, I hope you got plans to like put those two guys together, like maybe make a frame around them or something.
Well, my Griffies are in my Griffey case, and
Right.
I have a special display case of random things that have great stories, not a ton of value, and the Pendleton is in there, and it's really the only modern thing in there. But I do have them both displayed in the room, so I
Right.
do look at them both. Yeah.
That's great. All right. Well, now I have to follow up an incredible story with a less incredible story. This is just a card I pulled to share because I like the card. And, one of the things I like to do when I'm collecting is focus on cards that I'm drawn to for different reasons. One of my PCs is New York Baseball 1950s, as everybody knows. This is a card that I got fairly recently. I love the look of this card, and it gave me the opportunity to learn a little bit more about this player. So this is a 1953 Topps Hank Thompson. I've shown this card a number of times recently, but this is a card that's still out on my desk, and I'm looking at it a lot, and I'm thinking about Hank Thompson. So I thought it would be interesting to sort of look up what was going on in Hank Thompson's career in 1953 when this card was released. So I went to the Sabre website. I'm a Sabre member, and I really appreciate all the research and information that they are always compiling. So everything I'm going to share tonight comes directly from one of the Sabre biographies. So from Hank Thompson. Thompson spent the first month of the 1953 campaign warming the Giants bench while highly touted rookie Darrell Spencer was tried at third base. But he was finally inserted back into the hot corner spot in mid-May, and he responded with his finest big league season. He appeared in only 114 games because he had sat out most of the first month of the season, and he missed most of the last month after suffering a concussion with a bad hop grounder that knocked him out. Despite all of that, he slammed 24 home runs and drove in 74 runs while hitting .302. His .567 slugging average was the 7th highest in the National League that year, and his outstanding .967 ops was the 6th highest mark. So despite being, on the bench for a huge part of the beginning of the season, the guy definitely made a name for himself in 53. And hey, he's got a great looking card as well. So that's Hank Thompson.
That's great.
Nice. That card is super, super bright too. The registration, the colors are just gorgeous.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that set, of course. And we just had Drew Clean Sheet Shops, who knows that set really well. That's one of my favorite cards in that set. All right, Steven, back to you.
Okay, so I as everyone can see, and I did a quick shirt change. I'm obviously a big Oriole fan, an Oriole fan back from the 70s, late 60s, 70s. I started off basically by a sports moment and a something that galvanized a country. I'm going to move into more or less a family. The card I'm going to show now it pertains to family. It is the love of my life, my dear wife, who I've been married to 46 years. I'm the lucky one, Warren. I'm the lucky one, and she doesn't buy me a lot of cards or anything. But 4 years ago, and she bought me a minor league card of my favorite ball player, and which is Cal Ripken Jr.
Fantastic. Oh, wow.
Oh,
Great.
Wow.
Now, This is the spectacular card. I've mentioned it to her a lot of times over the years. She knows the Orioles since obviously when we met in high school and all this stuff. It was this card has a lot of meaning because it was something I knew nothing of, and it was given to me on my 60th birthday from my dear wife. And it is a card I will always have a memory of that night, how excited I was, how cherished I was. And I got to share it with my son and my two granddaughters. And again, if anyone knows, Cal Ripken's my guy. I have nothing but the utmost respect for a guy like Cal Ripken, just from the ability of spending his whole career with one team, everything he meant. And I'm gonna go on one other thing about this. I've a lot of people, I wouldn't say question or anything, but his streak that he had, it was incredible. What he did, and he basically said it was his job, and it was his job to report every day. So I kind of took that to heart myself, because I basically for 35 years of my working life never missed a day, and I'm lucky, obviously, because of my wife handling a lot of this stuff if I wasn't feeling well, or when my son was not feeling well and stuff like that. But again, I mean, family's everything. And when it comes to this sport, or this hobby that we have, pardon me, you need family's important, because they support you with every step of the way. And everything I have is because of my dear wife. So I just wanted to bring
Fantastic. Yeah, we could have an entire night, I'm sure, talking about Cal Ripken and his importance to the game. I love that that's your favorite player. I remember, as a kid growing up, being really, really, really disenfranchised with baseball after the strike, and I remember watching my dad get so frustrated with the sport, and then Cal Ripken just turning that whole thing around and just embodying the best of what baseball can be. And that's an incredible card. I've never seen that minor league card before. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love it, and I love it because it's a special card from the person I love the most,
Right.
And it's just spectacular.
Absolutely.
That's great. Just
All
great.
right, Warren, up to you now.
I'm gonna follow this again. Ron, my wife, she's the best, and I cherish her every day. So here we go. I'm going to follow Steven's lead on here. We're going to talk a little bit about family. I've shown this card before on my channel, and what's nice about it, it's still in the original case. Yes, it's a screw down, but it's an indented one, so the card's not pressed.
Right.
Okay? It's old school. It's never come out of this case, ever. So this is what it is, 1966, Roger Maris. It is my first vintage card ever.
Oh, wow.
Came from my father, and yes, my father's still alive. And his ass better be watching this right now. We'll see. They go to bed pretty early, but anyway. But he told me the story about Maris and the 61 home runs, and how he was always in the shadow of Mickey Mantle. But he was a roommate with Mantle, and he did a lot for Mantle that a lot of people didn't realize. And he always had that shadow around him. And, he was a quiet guy. I mean, we all know the stories, man. I don't want to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
But this card sent me on a journey to collect Maris. And I have some great Maris pieces. And he's not a Hall of Famer. Should he be? We can all argue that till we're all blue in the face.
Right.
He's so hobby significant. But, my favorite moment too, but this card will never leave this case. It will never be graded. I want it exactly like this because my father gave it to me.
Nice.
And he told me the story about Maris and why he appreciated Maris so much. And that he just didn't get the due that he was owed. And that's why, to me, the 98 time with, and I don't care what anybody says, I will cherish that season with McGuire and Sosa and the Chase and Griffey. Yes. And everybody forgets Griffey.
Yes.
He was in it too.
Right.
Everybody puts Griffey, they forget about it.
Yep.
It made me love baseball again.
Right.
So I don't care about the steroids of any of it. It made me love the game again. So that ties to this card.
Nice.
And that Chase.
Right.
And that's what it's always will be special to me.
That's great.
Great follow-up, buddy.
You did it.
You made me bring my big game now. Let's go.
Hey, Warren.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Hold it together, guys.
All right.
All right, Drew.
All right. So I'm going to make up a story just to beat them. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to do the same thing where I'm going to tell the story and then I'll reveal the card. But I got really deep into vintage, I don't know, 25 years ago or say, and I went through this whole thing, and there's a lot of online stuff, but there was one time where I went to a card show. I'd met a guy who became a friend of mine, still a friend of mine. In fact, ironically, Stuke knows him from up in Minnesota, but I know him from North Carolina. But anyway, and his name is Kurt. In fact, he'll be dealing in Strongsville in a few weeks. But anyway, so I would go and I would help him at card shows just for fun. In fact, I was helping him the day I met Jake. Legends Never Die.
Oh, wow.
And so anyway, that's just a connection within all that stuff. But there was one day I was at, I don't remember which town we were in, but I was helping him at a show. And he said, hey, you mind watching my table? I'm going to go see if I can find some cards. And he went over to this one guy and he was digging through stuff. And he comes back all excited. And he's like, oh, check this out. I got this card. And what he had was a 49 Bowman Gil Hodges rookie card. And there was a little writing on the back. And I was like, oh, man, great card. Now, this was way before Hodges was in the Hall of Fame. But still, Brooklyn Dodgers and all this stuff. This is probably 2013, somewhere back in there. So it was a good while ago. Anyway, so he comes back, and I was like, well, how much did you pay for it? And remember, 2013. So here we go. He said, man, I got it for $8. And I was like, oh, sweet. I said, can I buy it from you? Because I'm like, I love vintage, and Dodgers and all that stuff. And he goes, I don't know. And I was like, look, you seriously walked 2 tables away. I'll give you $10 for it. You made $2 to walk 15 feet. You don't even have to put it in a new top loader. He's like, all right, fine. You're helping me out the table. So he sold it to me for $10. So I had that card for a long time. Well, fast forward 2019, I was kind of out of cards, or at least adding to my collection. I was deep into woodworking and getting all that stuff. I had lost touch with a lot of friends from the community. It was way before I was on YouTube or anything about it. And through a lot of life situations that had nothing to do with cards, I realized that my collection would, if something had happened to me, my collection would have been a burden for my family. And I didn't want to do that. So I downgraded, and I've talked about it ad nauseum about how I sold a huge part of my collection. Well, this was that sell. I sold that to Jake, who was a friend of mine and still is most days. But anyway, but he bought a bunch of stuff, including that Gil Hodges card. And anyway, fast forward, and I didn't regret it. I sold it, and I'm okay with all that stuff. It was really just getting rid of a lot of stuff. But in the meantime, the boom happened. Prices went crazy. Gil Hodges goes in the Hall of Fame and all this other stuff. I am more and more into Brooklyn Dodgers and all this. And last year, coming back from Cleveland, we drove up there together, and we were just talking about life, and we brought up this sale. And he said, is there any cards that you kind of miss? And I was like, you know what? The only one I wish I didn't sell was that Gil Hodges, because it was crazy. So saying all that, that's the background of the story. Christmas Day, a couple months ago, my wife is super excited. She's got something going on. I don't know what this is. And she goes, I've got to film this. And I'm like, film this? Like nobody, like we don't film each other opening up gifts. But I opened up a gift, and lo and behold, was my original Gil Hodges rookie card. that Jake is now, he sells and buys and sells cards as a side business, and he had come across another one. This was in his PC, but he had come across another one, and he decided that he was going to sell this back, instead of selling the new one, and he sold it. He went in and some other friends and my wife and bought me back my original card. So originally this was bought, and you can see it's beautiful. Now there's, like I said, there's a little writing on the back, but I mean the centering and the color and all that beautiful for it. And originally $8. He made $2. Kurt made $2 on it. I bought it for 10. Sold it for way more than that to Jake. And then, so the reason I told the story about these was this my original Boomerang card, but this is the vintage Boomerang card that came back to me. So there's my story. So
And that's gorgeous.
Awesome. Just gorgeous.
I think we're learning, Drew, that you basically can never get rid of a card because it will always come back to you. So it's kind of a burden, actually.
Well, the good ones are coming back. I've got some thinkers, so.
Wow.
That's a beauty.
Outstanding.
Thank you.
Wow, wonderful. All right. So I'll throw up another card here. So I guess I got a sort of a 1950s New York Giants theme going. So another story behind the player and the year. This is a 1951 Topps Redback of Monty Irvin. I think this set is a lot of fun, and this is probably one of the most popular cards in this set. So it's his 1951 season with the New York Giants that defines Irvin's greatness as a baseball player. He was coming off his first full year in the majors, in which he established himself as a solid, promising cog in the Giants lineup. At 32 years of age, segregation had cost him his prime. With his .312 batting average, 24 home runs, and 121 runs batted in, he came close to winning the MVP that year, finishing third behind Roy Campanella and Stan Musial. He scored 94 runs, hit 11 triples, and drew 89 walks, while only striking out 44 times. And he went 12 for 14 in steals. In the field, he more than matched his prowess at the plate with his .996 percentage, a product of only one error all season. He was fifth in batting average, fourth in on-base percentage, seventh in slugging, tied for 10th in run scores, seventh in hits, ninth in total bases. The numbers continue, just incredible numbers that year. It was an across-the-board outstanding season for what was essentially a rookie campaign for this veteran Negro leaguer. Irvin finished seventh in walks, tied eighth in steals, fourth in runs created, fifth in times on base, and tied for third in times hit by a pitch. His outstanding regular season play more than carried over into the World Series, in which he hit .458, tying a record with his 11 hits. In game one of the series, he gave the Giants fans the thrill of a steal of home in the first inning against the Yankees. Allie Reynolds was the pitcher at the time. So that is Monty Irvin, 1951 Topps.
That's a beauty, Alex.
I love that card, man. I love that whole set.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's a lot of fun. It's a great set.
It is.
Yes, Peter, I did not memorize that. Not even close. I should have, right? All right, Stephen, back to you.
Okay, so the first couple cards obviously is about moment, country, and then family and wife. I think I'm leading into right now where what has really made me starting to enjoy where I am. I'm obviously in my 60s, and I'm going to go back 4 years, probably roughly around the time I turned 60. I met a gentleman at a card show. His name is Mike Samuel, and he goes by Canadian Cards.
Yes.
I met him for the first time. He was set up a show, and I'm going to bring a card out in a second, but I want to tell a little story first and foremost. My wife and I were just driving by. We thought we'd stop off at a show and just down the road. And Mike was set up there, and we're walking by. My son is a Boston Red Sox fan. I'm an Oriole fan, so but he's a Red Sox fan, and hence Mookie, I got my new T-shirt on, I'm going to go. So I'm talking with Mike, finally introduced ourselves. We're talking, and he had a Carlton Fisk rookie. I'll show the card.
Love it.
So this is not the exact card because the card I got was the one I gave my son. I've since purchased and bought one for myself, but I picked this card that day started me into what has become my second family, which is this community. I cannot say in words what this means to me day in, day out, from the communications I've had with people from all over United States and even in Canada. These guys are my best friends and some of the nicest people I have met. Well, they are the nicest people I have met. And I owe that all to my good buddy, Mike Samuel at Canadian Cards, who from that day talking with him, I bought a card. We exchanged emails, talked to me about YouTube. Next thing I know, I'm going off to shows with him. My first show I went to was in Strongsville back in 2023. We went. That's where I met Scott, Don's Field of Dreams, Chris from Missouri, and we saw Eric Four Leaf Cards on the Friday night, I believe. I saw Josh Stoudemire on the Saturday in the show. So I started meeting a few people, but it has basically flourished to such this is everything to me. I spend so much time watching people's videos, texting people. I am so excited about 3 weeks from now, and it is everything to me right now, because of where we are with how it is really growing the community. You guys, Alex, first time we met in person tonight, just wonderful. This is everything to me. I mean, I cannot. I've said it to many, many other fellow collectors. This is everything. This is such an unbelievable community, and I owe it to Mike for that first day meeting Mike and introducing me and bringing me into the club. And I just love you guys. I love all of you, and the more time I get to talk to you guys have enriched my life. So I want to say thank you to everyone. And that's a part of, like I said, I mean, it is the community. This community is incredible. And you hear so many people talk about this now. I mean, when you talk, I mean, just watch Greg Midlife Cards. You just watch what he talked about the community, and Orlando's always saying that, and Chris, we all are saying that. I mean, I'm not trying to name drop because I could go on and on. I got a book where I wrote down everyone's name. This is wonderful. This community is great, and it's going to be 3 incredible days now, and I'm looking so forward to it. That I just want to say thank you to everyone. I really do appreciate your friendships. Thank you very much.
You're the best, man. You're the best, bro.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephen.
Stephen, that's incredible. I appreciate you taking the time to share that. Jason, thanks for this. That's really nice. You know, I think everybody here can remember when they first jumped into YouTube. I just want to say real quick, I remember when I first started and I found all the big channels, some of them which are still around, like Ray from Philly. Ray was in here a little earlier today. I remember one of the things that Ray said in one of his videos that I saw early on is, you know, the great thing about YouTube in the terms of the community is it's here when you need it. And I've always found that to be true. And I think it's really special, you know. There's not a lot of great things like this going on in the world, and you know, we have something special here going on. So, Stephen, I appreciate you taking the time to share that.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Now I'm totally thrown off. Oh, okay, Warren, you got to follow that up.
Are you kidding me? Stephen, man, your passion and your energy is so fantastic. And I've so enjoyed some of our conversations we've had on the phone. It's your friendship means a lot to me. So just so you know that. Anyway, So, following up with this great community, my next card, and it's a great story, great player. So, I have this card, 1953, but auto Al Rosen.
Oh yes, yeah, great.
His MVP year, which, by the way, unanimous MVP, and the first unanimous MVP since Hank Greenberg in 1935. Four-time All-Star. He only played 7 years, guys. He had 1,067 hits, 192 home runs, and batted a lifetime 285. But what a lot of folks don't know, he hit 5 consecutive home runs in AAA for the Kansas City Blues in 1948. 5 consecutive home runs.
That's kind of crazy.
Crazy. But what's significant about this card is it came from a very good friend of mine, and I'm happy to call him a friend.
Yes.
And yeah, this is turning into an advertisement for Reindeer Studios. Here, look, man. I wore this shirt since I keep forgetting to wear it, Scott. There you go.
Oh, nice. Beautiful.
So it came from Scott asked me, we went to Virginia for the Net 54 get together. And we spent 12 hours in the car, 6 hours there, 6 hours back. But you never would have known it was that long in the car.
Mm-hmm.
It went so easy, and we talked so easily, and cards and oh yeah, you're blushing. I see it, Scott. Don't worry. The check better be in the mail tomorrow. That's all I'm saying, Scott. But we get back to his house, and he goes, "Hold on a second, I got something for you." I'm like, "What, man? I gotta go. I'm tired. It's like 11:30 at night. I got another 45-minute drive home." And he comes out. He goes, "Here, I want you to have this." And he also gave me this up here. It's a Corey Snyder signed ball. Because for whatever he heard me say, that was going to be one of my next pickups. I didn't have one, and I wanted one. He goes, "Here, I want you to have these." He goes, "I think you're awesome." I'm like, "No, man, no, I don't want." But for him to give me this, yeah, man, I cried in the car on the way home. All right, I'm not. But when I saw the autograph on there, I lost my mind. I'm like, who does that? Who just gives a 1953 Topps, or you know what I mean, guys? Mm-hmm. Not 50. You know what I mean. Anyway, 54.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Just amazing card. And I know I said it was his MVP. It just gets me, man. That's what it's all about. And I lost my mind, obviously, as you can tell. So
awesome.
But I'm so grateful for this community to be a part of this, and even sharing this time here, man. It's so fun, and just shooting the breeze and sharing cards and making friends, and that's what it's all about, man.
Absolutely.
And it's all old guys on cardboard.
That's right.
And that's what makes it great.
Tiny pictures of men on cardboard. Absolutely.
Guys just looking at pictures of guys on cardboard.
Oh my gosh. Cards with stories and tissues.
There it is.
All right. Drew. Nice. Drew, go for it.
Okay. So I'm going to be honest. I didn't know which ones I was going to pick. I have 4 more cards, and I'm looking at the time.
Well, let's do a lightning round. Yeah. Anything you want to show?
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell this quick story, and then we'll lightning the other 3 if you want. But
sure.
So one of the projects I did years and years ago was I wanted to get a Playing Days card of every Hall of Famer, which is not an easy task. It's not easy post-war. Pre-war is even harder. But yeah. I really got into type collecting and learning so much. It was really a great time. But I really legitimately did all of it on eBay. And this was back, I started about 2000, till whatever. And so as I was continuing on, this was a long process, a long project. And I knew that I wanted to keep a key card or a key player to be last because I wanted to finish it with that big one. I didn't know which one. It just depended, but I wanted to wait for the last one to be not Chick Hafey, basically. So I was looking for somebody, and I was down to one player, and I couldn't find a card of that I could afford on eBay. And somewhere along the way, someone said something about Net54, and I had no idea what Net54 was, and I don't know how many people do. But if you don't know, Net54 is a online chat room for vintage baseball cards, and it's extremely the community we're talking about with YouTube. It's the same thing on Net54, just in chat room form.
Yep.
Those guys are super close. They're welcoming. They're always there to educate people, and so I'm like, well, I'll go check it out. So I went to register, and it said, pick your username. I didn't have a good username, and I was exhausted from this Hall of Fame attempt over years, and I needed one more card, and it was sort of, to me, a shot in the dark. Can I find it on this Net54 thing? And I'm like, I don't know. All I know is I'm almost done. And I'm like, you know what? That's my username. So if you're ever on Net54, that's my username. That's me. I'm almost done. Because I realized, card collector, we're
I'm gonna go look
always
you up.
almost done. We're just about, are you ever going to finish this? I'm almost done. And that sort of, it spoke to me. So anyway, I get on there and I start exploring around. And sure enough, I asked, does anybody have something in this price range? And the guy reached out and he said, I've got a card if you're interested for it. I found this card on Net54. It's the first thing I bought on Net54, and it completed my Hall of Fame run, and it is a 1914 Polo Grounds Honus Wagner.
Oh wow.
Oh, nice.
And even though I have sold off a ton of stuff, including a lot from that specific collection, I did keep a few players, and obviously including the Honus Wagner.
That's
And,
stellar.
So it's got a picture.
Oh, look at that.
Upside down, of the Polo Grounds from back in the day. And but that was the card that brought me into learning how to be a collector within a community, because it was really the first time since I was a kid with kids in the neighborhood that I became part of a community. And it's that same community that both you, Stephen, and Warren talked about here on YouTube. I learned how to be a collector within a group of people that I had never met from all over the world, really, through Net54. So if you're ever over there and you're looking around, I don't post much, but look me up. I'm almost done. So there you go.
Yeah,
Drew, can you show the back of that again? Because obviously the front is the front is great, but the
absolutely.
back is awesome too. Yeah.
Yep. It's a black and white photo of the Polo Grounds.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very cool.
Wow.
Yep. So there you go. So there's my final story.
Beauty.
Thank you.
Now, real quick, Alex, real quick. One thing I forgot to mention about that 54, the Al Rosen.
Yeah.
The other thing that makes it significant for me, he was born in my hometown of Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah.
I forgot to mention that. I just went real quick. So
Nice.
Well, guys, we've got like a little more than 5 minutes left. Let's do a quick lightning round. Any cards you want to hold up? Not a lot of time for stories, but if you can quickly share a story or two.
Go ahead, Stephen.
Go for it.
Oof.
Oh boy.
This is the Bondbred 47 Bondbred Jackie. I bought this in Philadelphia in 2023. I met Sammy Thunder there that weekend, but going on what Drew had mentioned about Net54. Well, because of YouTube, I watched Dave from Blue Jacket 66 or 6. I think.
Yep, you got it.
66. I watched his video, and he spoke about this card in about the 2025 to what to watch for, what to look for. And it's awesome that I watched this video before I went to Philadelphia, because I knew nothing of it until and when I got there, as soon as I saw the card, immediately I knew exactly what I was looking at. And again, to go back what Drew says, it's because of this community, Net54, watching a video, people's got the knowledge of you guys out there is what's incredible, and it helps us all. So absolutely. I'm just going to piggyback what Drew was mentioning. And again, listening to guys who have the knowledge that know stuff that I was not aware of.
Right.
And I end up picking up a dynamite card because of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Warren, any last cards you want to throw up?
So much. So real quick, and everybody knows I'm all over the place, but this pretty example, 61 Maz,
Oh yeah.
just beautiful, bright, clean, sharp. Love Mazeroski because of the stories from my dad. And he was one of his favorite players and his dad's favorite players. And because my whole family's from Pittsburgh, just so you guys know, that's where that connection comes in. So it ties in, but hearing the stories of all the defensive records that Maz had, but also hitting one of the greatest home runs ever, as we all know. But
Sure.
that's where my connection to Maz comes in, and that's why I collect Maz stuff and
Nice.
Pirates and all that stuff. So it's just fun there.
Absolutely. Well,
Good
I'll throw this
stuff.
up real quick. 1953 Stallmeyer of Bobby Thompson.
Ooh,
Oh, that's outstanding.
that's
Nice.
great.
I'll spare you guys the Saber story because we don't have time. Drew, any last card you want to throw up?
I won't say the stories, I promise, but I'm going to show you rapid fire. This is the first vintage card I ever had.
Oh wow.
It is beat up, and it was a gift from somebody that said, "You're not a vintage collector until you own a Mickey Mantle," and he gave me
Nice.
this is the first vintage card I ever bought online, and it literally came in between two pieces of foam in a box. There was not even a penny sleeve on it, and I got that. And then this is the card that when I picked it up, it was the dream card as a kid that I knew that I'd finally become a vintage collector when I finally got my
boy.
Nolan Ryan
Yeah.
rookie, because I actually got to see Nolan Ryan pitch as a kid. And he crossed the sort of the generational gap between before I was born and I got to see him play. And so those were the other three cards I didn't get into the stories on.
Right.
Beautiful.
Right. Warren, go for it. I saw you grab that card. Go for it.
You know which one I pulled too. So there's memories, and it involves the community. This card right here,
Yes.
Yeah.
Rookie.
it's rookie.
Yep.
So I picked it up at the National here in Cleveland.
Yes.
I got to see a friend who I haven't seen in 35 years from high school at the National. He came in, Mike Anderson. Mike, I'm sure you're watching this, but I picked this up with Picker Jim
Oh, nice.
and Brian Hodges 1455. Everybody knows Brian because he comments on everything and watches everybody's stuff.
Yeah.
But he was there when I bought this card. And as I was shaking, when I give the guy the money, he handed me the card. I'm shaking. I'm like, dude, I can't believe I have this card finally. A lifelong dream card I wanted. And he was there.
Right.
Nice.
But I got to share it with everybody. You know, Peacemaker Dave and Ruben Snyder and Mike Junkwax Hero. They all got to see it. And they knew how much I wanted to have this card.
Right.
And for me to pull it, boom.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Mike,
Yeah, you never forget who you were with for certain cards like that.
Yeah.
Cards, no.
All right, guys. Well, we probably need to wrap this up. So I do want to remind everybody, head over to 4 Collectors at 9:00. Let's see. Until next Sunday night, I want to say thanks to Drew, Warren, and Steven for their time and their stories and their passion and all the love and the tears and the baseball cards, guys. It was fantastic. And hockey cards. Let's not forget that too. Everybody in the chat, thanks for joining in. If you like this live stream about nothing, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to get in touch, reach out to me, Bowman53channel@gmail.com. Have a great Sunday night, everybody. And we'll see you all next Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern time.
see everyone.
Have a good night. Thanks, everybody.
Take
Thanks.
care.
Be well.